Hi guys, it's Mrs. Santiago here, and today we're going to work on our first writing task. So this video is actually for everyone to watch, not just the people that are at home. So we are in your OneNote, Chapter 1, page 50, sentences to paragraphs. So I'm going to eliminate the table of contents so that you can see everything large. So this area, the blank area, is where I will actually be putting the video. And I just want to kind of start going through what's on the page. So writing a paragraph in Spanish is just like writing in English. What we're going to be working on is writing a small note, or think of it as an email. Anytime you write to someone else, you start with a greeting, then you need a body of information that consists of questions and answers, and then you close out whatever you've said. Think about it as the speaking test that we did in class where we spoke to a neighbor with a new identity, but now it's in writing. So New York State requires 8th graders to be able to write a paragraph. So we start right away in 7th grade. So New York State gives what's called a rubric. I'm sure you've used a rubric for being graded before, and you will be graded from New York State using this rubric to the right. Now, this is a really big rubric, but I wanted you to see what it really looks like from the state. So what's important is when you are given a situation to write about, that is called a prompt. So the prompt is the purpose or the task. So I'm going to write in this box prompt. So the prompt might be write a note to your family telling them about your vacation in Peru. Okay, that's really a chapter 10 prompt. For chapter 1, it's really going to be just writing about yourself. But you can see that you want to get a 4. So you're always going to read the column for 4. Vocabulary is going to be the same. And then the third one down, they call it structures and conventions. I'm just going to call this one grammar. So you're going to see on my list, it's just going to say grammar. And then word count. Notice that New York State is asking you for 30 words. Mrs. Santiago and the Spanish teachers always ask for 40 words because we're trying to give you a 10-word cushion in case you write something in English. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is really important right here. So that's my best star right now. Okay, that's a star. Okay, what is this that's so important? It says a 0 can be given in any of the above dimensions or categories when the student's performance falls below what the criteria describes for a score of a 1. But this is super important. If a paper scores a 0 on the purpose or task, the entire response will receive a 0. So what does that mean? That means that if I give a prompt and ask you to talk about your vacation and you talk about school, then you were off task and you get a 0. So you really want to make sure that you're reading the prompt and make sure you're answering the questions that are being asked. Now, on the final exam, you can see that there is a conversion chart. So you can make mistakes and still get a perfect score, because I'm going to score you out of 16, and New York State says if you get a 14, 15, or 16, you still get a 5. If you get 11, 12, or 13, you get a 4. Very few people score below a 4. Okay, so that is the big New York State rubric. Now let's go back over to the Mrs. Santiago information. Okay, look at Mrs. Santiago's big giant rubric. Okay, it's not that giant. Okay, it just says task 0 through 4, vocabulary 0 through 4, and I'm looking for a variety of vocabulary related to the topic and from our work in school, not online translated. Grammar 0 through 4. Is the grammar good? Do the verbs match the person doing the action? Is it a good sentence structure? And then word count. So this is pretty straightforward. If you are 40 or above, you get a 4. If you're in the 30s, you get a 3. If you're in the 20s, you get a 20. If you're in the 10 to 20, you get a 1, and anything below 10 words gets a 0. Okay. That is the rubric I will be using. So the score is out of 16. Okay, so this is a lot of information, but let's get down to the task at hand. It says, we will practice here in the notebook. When a writing task is being graded, it will be done through a Schoology discussion post. The reason we do it through a discussion post is I can put the rubric right in Schoology, and it's much quicker for Mrs. Santiago to grade it. No one else reads your post. You don't have to reply to other people. It's just a place for me to be able to read it. And also, it eliminates handwriting. You have to type your post there. I would suggest when we get to that point that you type it in Word first and then copy and paste it over, because you'll have your word count. To get a 4 in the word count, you must write 40 Spanish words. Proper names, meaning Jose, Manuel, Amelia, your name, Joe, Anthony, Tyler, those names do not count in your word count. Any word that you write in English does not count in your word count. In fact, if you write in English, I automatically deduct 1 point from your vocabulary. And numbers that are written out just as a number like this, like a 3, that doesn't count as a word because it's just a number. However, this is important. I'm going to highlight it. Okay, I think it's pretty important, but let's not highlight it in gray. Yeah, let's actually go to highlighting it in aqua. Okay, this is pretty cool though. Numbers written out as words, your date, your greeting, and your closing do count as your word count. You have to count your words and write it in this box, which always appears on your writing tasks. Okay, this should not surprise you because I just said it. Okay, anything that is online translated will be given a 0 for a writing task, and I will give you an opportunity 1 time throughout the year to redo it. No questions asked. You just have to say, yes, it was online translated, and I will give you 1 opportunity. The second time you use an online translator, you will be given a 0 and there will not be an opportunity to redo it. I do not want to know what an online translator knows. I want to know what you can do with the information that you were given for that chapter. Okay, now let's get to it. Oh, I'm sorry. Your word count actually goes here. This is where your grade goes. So I'm just going to write above that grade. So that's your grade out of 16. This is your word count. Okay, so below the kind of purple line, you can see for once I actually gave you lined paper. So when you write a writing task, so this task this time, and I'm just going to write the task here for you. So the task is to write a note. Think of it as an email to a new pen pal or online friend in Spain, and introduce yourself. Now, I've already said we're shooting for 40 words. So I'm going to give you a hint. The first thing I would do is write like my greeting and my date. So remember, when you write the date out in Spanish, we're going to put it in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to write L and then the number. Now, if I wrote this de noviembre, okay, if I do this, this number doesn't count. But if I write it out like this, then it does count. Okay, so I am actually going to opt for writing it out as a word because I want as many words as I can get. Now, how could I greet the person in writing? Well, you know that you can say hola. I don't know the person's name, so I'm going to say hola, mi amigo. Hi, friend. Hola, mi amigo. Okay. So now I'm going to start giving information. Let's see how many words I have so far. Uno, dos, tres. This counts. Cuatro, cinco, seis, siete. So I always like to write it kind of out on the side. So I have siete words so far. Okay. So I'm going to start right out. What would you do first? I mean, I would tell them my name and ask them their name. So I'm going to write a paragraph, right? So it's me llamo. I want to make up a new name. Me llamo Minerva. Okay, now I want to ask them, what's your name? I try to give information and then ask a question. So how about como te llamas? Notice the inverted question mark and then the regular question mark. Me llamo Minerva. ¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, what's my next statement? How about yo soy de los Estados Unidos. That counts. Yo soy de los Estados Unidos. Now, I can ask the question, where are you from? So I'm going to put in a question mark and I'm going to say, ¿de dónde eres? Okay, let's pause there and see where we're at with word count. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I'm going to move my 7 over. Siete. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho. Okay, so let's add those up. So we've got ocho, nueve, diez, catorce, and siete. So we are at 21 so far. Okay, so we are halfway there, and we've only written a few sentences. So now you're going to have to ask a few other things or make some statements about yourself. I know that you don't probably think you remember this, but you could talk about your birthday. And we talked about how to say my birthday is. So I would probably do that. Mi cumpleaños es, and then remember to say the date in Spanish, we have to say el, and then the number, and I'm going to write it out because I want it to count. El 3 de octubre. Okay, let's see what we got now here. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho. Ocho. So now I'm just about at 30. Okay, now it's tricky because I want to ask them about their birthday, but I don't know how to do that in Spanish. So I'm going to teach you right now. When you don't know and you want to throw it back to the other person, you're going to add in the tag question, y tú and you. So now I've just thrown it back to them about their birthday. So we could ask, ¿Cómo estás? Because we know that one. So let's ask that because that's part of our big 3. ¿Cómo estás? And then answer it so they know how you feel. Yo estoy, and I want words, so I'm going to say muy bien. Okay, let's see where we're at. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete. Okay. And then here I've got uno. Let's just see where we're at. Okay, so should I be that teacher that's going to, go to my calculator? Can I get the calculator up without doing all those other things? Where's my doggone calculator? Mrs. Santiago lost the calculator. Why isn't it just bringing up all the stuff that I have? Where are the programs? There we go. Calculator. Okay. I want it small, though. Can I make it small? I wish you guys were with me in class so I could do it. There we go. And now I want to go back to my OneNote page. Will it keep my calculator? Yay, it did. Okay, I'm going to try to move my calculator. Okay, so I've got 7 más 6 más 8 más 8 más 7 más 1. 1 equals 37. So right here I'm at 37. So I only really need one more sentence. Okay, now how do I get rid of my calculator? How do I get rid of the calculator? How do I get rid of the calculator, guys? You're not helping me here. Maybe I just leave it and go back to my OneNote. There we go. Okay. So I'm at 37 and I want to hit at least 40. So I need one more statement. Think about the things that we already learned. We learned colors. We learned numbers. We learned some names of people. We could talk about your siblings. I think it's easy to say like what your favorite color is. And then you could do one more. Okay, so remember the word favorito. So you're going to go mi color, because that's like a word that's a cognate. Mi color favorito es, and then name a color. Es azul. Easy to spell. Okay, so I just added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I could throw in another y tú. Okay, and you. So now instead of 1, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 8. So I'm definitely above 40. So I'm just going to write 40 plus, but I shouldn't leave it there. I need to add a closing. So I'm just going to close it by using one of our closings, like hasta luego. And then I'm always going to add mi amigo, because that gives me a couple more words. And this counts. Like I can count that in my word count. And then you sign your name. What was my name? Minerva. Okay. So you hit your word count. So now if I went back up to grade this one, okay, so did we follow the task? Did we write an introductory email? Yes. So I'm going to put a 4. Our vocab was good. Our grammar was good. And our word count was at probably around 45. I'd have to go back and add those numbers up again to see, but I know it was above 40. So Mrs. Santiago just scored I have to add them up because I have to put it in the word count box. Ay, ay, ay. So 8 times 3 is what? 8 times 3 is 24. And then I have 7 and 7 is 14. And 6 and 4 is 10. So I have 8. I actually have 48. So I would write 48 in the box. Then if Mrs. Santiago has to count your words, you just lost a point in the word count. I will count them, but you're going to take a penalty for it. Okay, so I'm going to change this. I had 48 words. So I definitely made the word count, and I got a 16 out of 16. And you know me, if I did that good, I get a smile. So I hope that this helped. If you're at home, I want you to try to do another one now, right in this same space. I want you to write a note or an email to a new pen pal in Spain and introduce yourself. All right, guys, I hope that helped. We'll be doing a writing task, at least one per chapter. The next one will be graded and it will be on your own. Okay, hasta luego.